So today we're here to talk about the free formula. First, though, we need to talk about something else, and that is Mother Nature. What is going on with Mother Nature? We've got natural disasters everywhere. We've got the fires on the West Coast in Oregon and Colorado. We have hurricanes. There's another hurricane or tropical depression stirring up in the Gulf of Mexico, headed toward the Texas coast, as far as we know. It could be another hurricane. And if it is a hurricane, it will be Hurricane Wilfred. That is W in the rotation that's used for naming storms. This time last year, we were at H because, not last year, but 3 years ago, Hurricane Harvey hit and extracted incredible devastation here in Houston and the southeast part of Texas. That was H. We're already up to W. And just a few weeks ago, I was battening down the hatches to shelter in place. Thankfully, because of Hurricane Laura, geez, we've jumped from L to W already. Hurricane Laura sideswiped Texas, or this part of Texas, hit the eastern part of Texas and Louisiana, unfortunately. So we got lucky, but who knows, maybe we're in the crosshairs again. And that's just in the space of 3 weeks. That is an amazing amount of activity. What's going on with the climate? And then there are tornadoes that are spawned by this. And the expectation is that what's coming this way with what could become Hurricane Wilfred, it might just stay a tropical storm, is going to be a lot of flooding. So a lot is happening. And I'm personally beginning to see, actually these thoughts were starting to take hold a little while ago, but they really started to crystallize just yesterday. But I'm beginning to see the environment, Mother Nature, this broader ecosystem in which we live, as a metaphor for our health. A metaphor for our health. And if we look at Mother Nature, the environment, as a metaphor for our health, I think it's probably fair to say that Mother Nature is trying to get our attention. And she is really trying. She's really trying to wake us up right now. So just give me a thumbs up in the chat if you are following along in Facebook. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you are open to this concept that maybe Mother Nature is a metaphor for our health. You know, we've not been paying very much attention to the health of the planet. I think it's fair to say, and I'm talking very broadly, of course, there are a lot of people, a lot of activists, environmentalists who have been sounding the call for a long time. But if you step back and look at what we have done as a planet, as a species, it's as though we've become complacent. We've become neglectful. We've taken our environment for granted. I honestly did not realize when I decided to start doing these weekly live chats that I might be veering into an area that could be controversial or even political for some. But I do feel as though it's important for me to use my voice just as it is important for everybody else to use their voices, and let's play in this area of new thought. We have these new challenges facing us. I was just in a wonderful 3-day event with my mentor, Sage Levine, and she, even though it's a business training program, she oftentimes connects us to something larger. And right now, what's going on in the planet with all of these multiple disasters coming at us. um, it's a wake-up call, and it's an opportunity to recognize that the things that we've come to expect, everything that we thought was set in stone, solid, that we could count on, has now been challenged. And that actually does play into where I'm going today. I promise, even though it may seem as though I'm flailing about in the stream, I'm going to get you to the other side of this river with me. I'm going to get you to the other side. I'm going to land this plane. It's all going to make sense. So if you agree, or maybe you don't, that we haven't paid very much attention and that we've become neglectful, then all we have to do is look at the results, right? Devastating destruction, devastating loss of life, devastating loss of animal life, of what we've come to count on, education systems, medical systems. Everything is a little bit at risk now, a little bit at risk. And when we look at these natural disasters, they're continuing with increasing frequency and intensity. And then, on top of all of that, we have the COVID crisis. COVID-19, a global pandemic. So this is why I've been talking about Mother Nature. I heard this quote, this statement yesterday in this retreat that I was in, and it really landed with me. And tell me, if it lands with you, then I want you to tap your heart. This was a guest speaker, Derek Bridell, an incredible thought leader, and he said, it is as though Mother Nature has gotten fed up and has given us a huge time out. Mother Nature has sent us to our rooms. I mean, what else was this global lockdown all about, right? We needed a time out to think about what we've done to ourselves and to the planet. Yeah, so and what is it that we've done? I think one could say, you're gonna have to play with me in this realm of whirling thoughts here, but one could say that we've prioritized systems over people. We've prioritized the industrial food complex over the individuals who need to benefit from getting good food, quality food. We've prioritized the industrial farm complex over individual farmers. We've prioritized the industrial medical complex. And what we've done in doing that is we've left behind individuals. We've left behind individuals. We've stopped considering ourselves to be connected to other people. And that's really the tie-in, because as we've stopped caring for those who need it the most, we've also stopped caring for the planet. There's going to be a tremendous cost because of this. Tremendous cost in the trillions of dollars to deal with all of the natural disasters. Here right now in the United States, it's the fires on the West Coast. Several months ago, if not last year, it was what was going on in Australia. We're seeing this everywhere. And then, of course, the floods, the hurricanes, and COVID. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. What does this have to do with health? What does this have to do with my free formula? Hang in there with me. I wish I could see you on Facebook. I'm not sure if I have that ability or not. I've got another one of my devices up here, so I'm just trying to see if we're actually out there or not. And this one is not picking it up. But okay, so I shall continue. and maybe you'll pick this up on the recording later. If you're just joining me, my name is Yvonne Miles, and I'm the founder of Vibrantly Living You. This is the first of a series of weekly chats. We're talking about health. We're talking about how to claim health so vibrant it's as though you're aging backwards. Because I truly believe that we all have our own personal fountain of youth within us. We just have to unlock it. We have to find the way to it and be consistent in how we approach our life. So if you're just joining, I've been guiding us down this pathway of considering that what is happening in the larger world with our environment is a metaphor for what is happening in our bodies with our health. The COVID pandemic is one ramification of that. Could be seen as one illustration of that. So now I want to bring it to what's going on in the United States. I know there might be a couple of people joining from abroad, Fiona Winter in Wales and Catherine Graham in Bristol. I hope you're out there. Welcome. I wish I could see you on this chat thread. We're experimenting with this technology, and some other delightful sisters like Lisa in Los Angeles. Stay safe, please, Lisa. And hoping Anne is out there as well on the East Coast. I want to zero in on what happens here in the United States. The Centers for Disease Control, before they had to switch 100% to COVID coverage, reported that the number one reason that people go bankrupt in the United States is because of medical debt. Medical debt. And that medical debt is mostly driven by lifestyle diseases. Lifestyle diseases that we can control. What do I mean by lifestyle diseases? I mean diabetes, obesity, heart disease, hypertension in many ways, and cancer even falls into that realm. Because what determines whether those diseases are on our path, on our flight path, has to do with the quality of the food we eat, what we choose to eat, or what we think we're choosing to eat is probably a better way to put it. I can't wait to talk about that aspect of it in another chat. But the quality of the food that we eat, as well as the amount and quality of movement that we give to our bodies, whether we're sedentary or not. And then how we work with the stress and the inflammation that causes in our bodies. All of those factors are what are driving these lifestyle diseases and shooting up the possibility of bankruptcy. That to me is quite alarming. On top of that, talking United States here, the average American spends over $11,000 in medical expenses every year. I thought that was really, really shocking. $11,172. But if you think about it from the standpoint of a family of four, of course, there are the insurance costs and then all of the other ancillary costs that add up, like annual checkups and eye care and dental care. And then what happens when there's an emergency, like COVID? It can add up very quickly. One more interesting statistic. This is data from, I think, last year. Big name health insurers raked in $8.2 billion in profit for the fourth quarter of 2019. And 35.7 billion over the course of the entire year. Now, I'm not necessarily going to throw a lot of shade at the healthcare industry right now. I want to talk about it on a really macro level, just high level. It's almost as though you could say that health insurers profit when you and I get sick. I mean, in a way, that's what insurance is all about. Our healthcare system is kind of nuts in this country, but stay at a high level with me. The more sick you are, the more profit those companies make. I know this is a very simplistic view. There's a lot of benefit to having some form of insurance, and I'm not against that. I'm not against that. But what I am against is how we have put so much energy into the medical industrial complex, into making sure that it works for the insurers, and it works for hospitals, and it works in a big way, so that it's the equation is really about how to manage your sickness instead of your health, because obviously there's a big incentive for people to continue coming through the door. Managing sickness instead of wellness, managing sickness instead of health, which is why I ask this controversial question. Do you think we have a sick care system in this country, or a healthcare system? Now, here we go again with the technology. Since I'm running a little blind here, I see that I'm live on Facebook, yay! But I'm not able to see what's happening in the comments thread for right now, trusting that my team member, Catherine, is out there. And so if you are out there, and if you are having the ability to follow along in Vibrantly Yours, or another, or maybe Healthy Aging Sisters, Healthy Aging Sisterhood with Anne Greenwald, then there could be a sticker that you might see that says, do you think we have a sick care or a healthcare system? And if you see that out there, I'd be curious to see what you think about that. I know I've just laid out some controversial views, and so let's get a conversation going around that. Do we have a sick care system or a healthcare system? Are we incentivized to stay healthy, really healthy and well? Or does this larger industrial complex incentivize us, or turn its blind eye perhaps to managing wellness instead of sickness? And I'm not intending to rant. We need our healthcare workers now more than ever. And I wonder if it's working for the healthcare workers themselves. Many of them are at the lower end of the economic scale, and many of them are suffering, especially in this COVID crisis as well. You can see how complicated this is, which is why it is so important to bring it down to what you can individually do, what I can do and what you can do. And that is to value your health above all. This is the time to truly nurture your health. This is the time to pay attention to your own health, to find the areas that you can control. This is the time. Just like this is the time for us to be paying attention to what's going on with Mother Nature. And then that is what brings us to the free formula. See, I told you I'd land the plane. I told you I'd get you to the other side of this river. So free, F-R-E-E. It stands for forgive, reframe, explore, and engage. Let me tell you a little bit about each one of those. The free formula was kind of delivered to me, I guess. It's a process that I naturally moved through as I was going through somewhat of a darker period in my life. And it's how I regained my health and my vitality. And I regained my vitality, my enthusiasm, my energy, my positive sense of self. I knew I'd gained it when I woke up one morning and I felt as though I was actually aging backwards. I felt so much better than I had in the previous 8 to 10 years. And so that led me to the first part of the forgive. And here's how that happened. Before this epiphany, I guess, arrived, I had attended a conscious dance training technique for teachers, something called Surya Soul, which I hope to bring into our ecosystem here eventually. But I attended a Surya Soul training session, and as a result of just 1 week of eating the most incredible, delicious, mostly plant-based foods, actually, I have to say it was plant-based except for the fact that we did get to eat scrambled eggs in the morning. But other than that, everything else was plant-based. In this wonderful environment of encouragement and joy and wonderment, I was able to lose just a few pounds, just a few, not a lot. I really wanted to lose more, but only just a few pounds. And I felt so good from that I realized I was on the right track, that maybe if I just modeled that, I could regain that feeling that I once had had. And so as I became encouraged to do this, I realized, it's much to my surprise, that for years, probably since I was a teenager, I had been carrying around a very heavy burden of a negative body image. I was coming from a place of a little bit of self-loathing, because of the shape of my body, which had only grown more challenging as I entered into menopause and eventually came through it. I was astounded at how deeply I carried that, and that is what was in my way of being able to lose a few pounds. And then I guess because I was distracted from that feeling during that wonderful bubble experience, that I was able to move beyond it. And that is what made me realize that I really did have to have a little conversation with myself and forgive myself for carrying that burden, and to make a pledge that I wasn't going to do it any longer. There's this book called The Book of Forgiving that somebody made me aware of, and it chronicles the tremendous journey that South Africa went through as it healed its wounds from apartheid. And the very first part of that is to be able to name your hurt. And that's what I did. I named that hurt, and then I was able to move through that. More on that, if forgiving is something that is a topic of interest to you, then I would love to be able to explore that a little bit more. So that was the forgive. I also heard something from a physician, Christiane Northrup, the author of Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom. I think that's the name of it. Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom, who spoke about this very same phenomenon. And I find this myself as a paradox, that if weight loss is what you're looking for, then it has to come from a place of love. It's just your body responds to love and not anger or hatred. First, you have to love yourself, warts and all, ripples of fat and all, and revel in the wonderment of your body before you can move forward into transformation. That's a mindset change. I guess that brings me to the R part, the reframe. Reframe. It is a paradox, but you have to reframe, flip the equation. part of what I had to forgive myself for was buying into something I had been told by my father when I was younger, which was that I was pear shaped, and there was just something about the way he said that made me very self conscious of the size of my hips and thighs. There is no doubt that that is a feeling I carried with me as I stepped into the Serious Soul training. But then I learned how to flip that around. I decided once I forgave myself that I wasn't pear shaped. I was a curvy and am a curvy, athletic woman. Yeah. How's that for a reframe? I claimed that curvy, athletic woman. That is something that I like to wake up to in the morning. So there's the reframe. There are other kinds of reframes. What sort of sacred cows do you have that you may need to reframe? Are you a meat and potatoes family? Are you a meat and potatoes kind of gal, or do you live with somebody who's a meat and potatoes guy and that's all you eat? I don't want to make more than one meal, so it's all meat and potatoes. Or maybe it's you don't like green vegetables, which is kind of why people go for meat and potatoes. And green veggies, oh my gosh, they play such an important part in our health. So, what's your sacred cow? Is it do you or it's the thing that you need to reframe? Could it be that you don't like to dance, or that you can't dance? As many of you know, I'm a NIA teacher, and so I've taught this technique for 20 years. And I cannot tell you how many people will say, "Oh, I have two left feet. Oh, I'm too uncoordinated for that." Well, I have news for you. If you can walk, you can dance. And actually, you don't even have to walk to dance. You can dance in your chair. I attended a NIA class in Santa Fe several years ago. Most of the people in the class were 20 somethings and 30 somethings. I was already a 40 or 50 something at that point. And all women except for one man. And this one man was suffering from multiple sclerosis. I would put him easily at that time in his mid 60s. Yeah, we'll just say he was in his 60s. That man was so determined to claim his health that he danced with a camped chair to help him to steady himself and to get up and down off of the floor. And if you don't know what I mean by a camp chair, just one of those simple chairs that has the canvas sort of like this, and then the wooden legs that you can fold up. He brought that to the class. He was completely welcomed. People enjoyed him. We all moved and danced around him, and he didn't let himself be put off by the fact that he was the only man in a group of 20 or 30 something, mostly aged women. And so every time somebody says, "I have two left feet, I can't dance, I'm not coordinated enough," I think about that man. I think about the courage that he was exhibiting. So it is possible to reframe that. The third part of free is explore. Explore, experiment, learn new things. Be willing to be open to trying something new. When I returned from my Serious Soul training and had my epiphany, I immediately started experimenting with, could I recreate some of those meals that we had my own way, my simple way? What sort of combinations can I put together that taste really good and look really beautiful? All kinds of ways to explore. Just try something new. Try it on. Try it on. It doesn't mean it's forever. Just try it on and see what works for you. And then the third part of the free formula is to make a plan. Make a plan and make it so is another way to say it. Engage. Engage. That's the E part of it. Engage. Make a plan and make it so. So for me, that was the Serious Soul commitment that I made to myself when I saw that, hey, I got a little bit more space between my waist and my waistband after just 7 days of eating delicious food, everything that I wanted, feeling satisfied and happy and joyful. There must be something to this. So I brought that home and I said, I'm going to see if I can maintain this for at least 3 to 4 weeks. And I did. And then I saw more gains and I felt my enthusiasm coming back. So that's the E of engage. Week by week, month by month, if you take small steps, week by week, month by month, you'll start to see the improvements. And that is how you begin to break away from a sick care system into claiming your own vibrant health. All right, so once again, counting on the wonders of technology, that there's actually a Facebook stream going on here, and if so, you may find a sticker out there that says, what part of free resonates with you the most and why? And I invite you to put your comments down there. Forgive, reframe, explore, engage. That's your free formula for today. What part resonates with you the most? And why? Let's get that conversation going out there. And we can keep this conversation going throughout the day, because if in the event that this is not being live streamed into Vibrantly Yours, I will get a recording of this out there. And so we can continue that conversation onward, check back. This is good. So, I've made it my business over the last couple of years to learn what I can about health. And the one thing that I have learned that is really at stake is that it really does come down to mindset. I can give you all kinds of information about health, and you read it anyway. You read it, you see it, you consume a lot of content about this. But the only thing that's going to make any real difference is whether you actually shift your mind into a place where you're willing to take the action. Shifting your mind to take the action. And then it's helpful to always just have these small bite-sized pieces, and taking those small bite-sized pieces in your health journey. Having a guide, a coach, somebody along the way who can help you, help hold you accountable to your own goals, so that you show up for yourself in the way that you want to, so that you can release the best part of you that you want to come shining through. Having a guide or a coach is so important, and that's what I'm here for. And that's why I'm building this ecosystem, so that we can all help each other stay in the game, and stay engaged, and stay accountable to one another. If you do want a little more personalized guidance, then I encourage you to reach out to me through questions here in the chat in the Vibrantly Yours group. I don't think you can do that on the Vibrantly Living You Facebook page, but certainly in the Vibrantly Yours private group. If you're not a member, please join. You can add your questions. You can reach out to me on Instant Messenger, or you can book a private breakthrough session, Vibrant for Life breakthrough session. I believe there's a link to get to my website where you can easily book that session. And that's free. It's totally complimentary. It's an opportunity for us to spend just a little bit of time understanding what is that goal that you are emotionally connected to bring you into your health. And then let's spend a little bit of time during that session unpacking what might be in your way. What's blocking your energy? What's blocking your enthusiasm? And let's get you a mini plan to get you one step closer to your personal fountain of youth. So that's a Vibrant for Life breakthrough session. And you can reach out to me whenever you have, whenever it's convenient to you. I'll be here on a weekly basis, so just show up. We'll see what happens. There is another opportunity, though, coming right up for us, for you to learn even more about health, and that's going to take place next week. I'm going to have my first guest speaker here. Her name is Anne Greenwald. We have been collaborating together for several months now. It has just been the most wonderful opportunity. She is the owner of A Gift Movement Coaching for Healthy Aging. So we're both swimming in the same pool. Swimming in the same pool. I want you to age backwards, age vibrantly, claim your fountain of youth, and she wants you to be able to age in a really beautiful way where you take control. So we're coming together next week. We'll talk about what Anne's been up to lately, and we will talk about the Facebook training that we will be offering in less than 2 weeks. It'll be here. Okay, that's why I wanted to test out this technology to figure out how it works before the big day. But we have a very fun 4-day Facebook training for you that you'll be able to return to videos if you can't be here live. And we call it 5 Secrets to Beat the Aging Slump. Stand up, eat, move, and breathe into a better mindset. So there's that word again, mindset. So I invite you to come here next week, join me next week, bring your friends, meet Anne, and let's tackle this healthcare versus sick care dilemma together. There's so much more to learn. Okay, so I think we've come about to the end of my unexpected rant. I had no idea I was going to go off on that tangent. Well, it's not really a tangent. It's all related. I did have a different set of comments worked out for today, and yet this is what just seemed to naturally want to flow. And so I thought, let's bring this. Let's talk about it. So I'm curious what kind of questions that you have. Again, I am sorry that I can't actually see you on Facebook. I'm going to try one more time to see if I can possibly get over there. I'm wondering if I have to, this is not letting me refresh. Okay. So, if you have questions, you go ahead and post them on the Facebook page or the group. And I'm just going to check in real quickly with beautiful team Vibrant. And it looks like we have a few viewers out there. This is wonderful. It's so good to have a team supporting you. I will land this plane now by just reminding you that you are cordially invited to join me for my weekly NIA classes. I do this in a different page that I share with a few other teachers. We call it HTX NIA class. HTX NIA class. My classes are on Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 9:30 in the morning, United States Central Time. And you're always welcome to join. It is my sincere hope and my commitment, actually, to bring NIA back into Vibrantly Yours, into the private group. It will happen soon. It may be the shorter versions of those, but movement is such an important part. Joyful movement is such an important part of reclaiming your control over your health so that you're not on the sick care versus healthcare dilemma or pathway. it played such an important part in me regaining the love of my body and this ability to move forward to the point where I wake up most mornings and go, geez, I feel better than I did when I was in my 40s. And I'm way, I'm a couple of decades away from my 40s. So that's as far as I'm going to go in terms of revealing my age, not because I'm shy, but because it just feels, I don't know, what would be the word? Um, I don't know. I don't quite have the word, but it just has never felt right. So, yeah, that's all for today. I congratulate you if you stuck through all of the technical glitches. I congratulate you. You made an investment in yourself. I hope some of these thoughts are provocative and help you unlock what your next steps could be for stepping into your own vibrant health. I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I'll be looking at that Facebook page and hoping to connect with you. And with my best wishes for your health and well-being and your safety wherever you are on the planet, I will say goodbye, and I'll see you next week right here. Okay? Bye for now.